Hello and welcome to this special live celebration of the power of the National Senior Games. I'm Mark Middleton from Growing Boulder, the proud official media partner of the National Senior Games. We are coming live tonight on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube, and we are thrilled to have you with us. You know, we've named this show All Together now because the National Senior Games is a movement unlike any other, bringing health, longevity, competition, and maybe most importantly, community to adults age 50 to over 100, forging lifelong friendships and memories. Now, over the next 30 minutes, we will be talking with athletes of all ages and abilities and some active aging experts, all standing by live now, all ready to share their stories and their insight into how the games can change your life. Now, not only do we want to shine the light on those of you who are already senior athletes, but we do hope that you brought along a friend or family member to the party to share all that the games can bring to their life as well. Because studies have proven that social isolation is just as harmful to our health as is smoking or obesity. It's vital to our well-being and longevity that we do stay socially connected. And that's pretty much what the National Senior Games superpower is. I mean, what better way to do it than joining a team, making a friend through competition, training with others, and supporting and encouraging one another. Now, it doesn't matter what your age or experience is because it is truly never too late to get involved. Just ask the DC Water Wizards, a Learn to Swim program that sent a team full of athletes to the 2023 Games in Pittsburgh, where several members told us that joining the team and competing in the games has kept them motivated, even kept them alive as they've aged. All right. Do you want to live to be 100? Well, that's really a loaded question because we'd all like to as long as we can enjoy it. Unfortunately, though, if you want to be independent, active, and in good health, there is no magic pill that's going to make that happen. The truth is, if you want to keep moving, you gotta keep moving, as we've seen from countless senior athletes in their 100s, like Lindsey Tice or the late Roy Eglert or Julia Hawkins here, who lived to be 108 years old and inspired people of all ages worldwide. So, what do you think? Wouldn't it be great to still be traveling, to still be hanging out with friends and competing into your 80s and 90s and even 100s? Share your comments now in the chat and be sure to click the option to have your comments go to everyone who is here in the chat because we all want to hear from you. I'm live in Orlando. Where are you? What's your sport? What would you like to try? What do you think is the very best thing about the National Senior Games? Let's check the chat right now because we've already got some action. Deb is here from Maine. She says basketball is her sport. Chris is a cyclist from Kentucky. Raymond Cage from Frisco, Texas is here. His sport is track, and he says he'll be competing in the 50 meter, the 100 meter, and the 200 meter dash. The guy's a sprinter, folks. Elaine Krugman is here, a United States Masters swimming member from Georgia, like that. Carmen, tennis and track and field athlete in the 80 to 84 year age group, is also here. So keep the chats coming. We want to share what you're thinking tonight. And throughout the show, by the way, we will be giving away some cool prizes just for showing up, helping us celebrate and spreading the word about the senior games in your state. And here is our very first prize. It is a Growing Boulder box. I mean, folks, this is pretty incredible. It contains, among many other things, my book. I signed it, Growing Boulder, Defy the Cult of Youth. It's got inspirational stickers, a motivational postcard book. It's got a very cool Growing Boulder t-shirt that tells the world that it's not about age, it's about attitude. And I know you've got a lot of that. And the very first box is going to go to, coming in right now, it's going to Donna Holmes from Maryland. Donna, we will DM you in the comments to get your information. We will send the Boulder box your way. And folks, there's going to be plenty more giveaways tonight during the show as we continue to share the inspiration of the National Senior Games movement. Well, you know, without question, one of the many magic moments at the 2023 National Senior Games in Pittsburgh was provided by a guy by the name of Jack Eckenrode, who at 95 years old became the oldest person ever to complete the 20K cycling race at the National Senior Games. And Jack did not compete alone. He inspired family and friends to compete as well. So let's meet some athletes who pretty much embody what this show and the Senior Games movement in general are all about. Joining us now from Pittsburgh, the man himself, now 97-year-old Jack Eckenrode, his son Brian, a gold medal swimmer in Pittsburgh who was inspired by Jack to compete, and Jack's neighbor Pat, who he also inspired to compete. And boy, did she ever, winning gold in the women's 85 to 89 20K road race. Welcome all. Jack, let's start with you. You didn't start riding until you were 75 years old. Your inspiration and positivity are literally contagious. Why is it so important for you to spread the Senior Games message? Why are you so motivated to get others involved?
Well, you know what? I work out every day, and I inspire anybody that's maybe in the 90s to get off the couch and do some exercise every day. And that's what I do. And I feel so much better when I do it. I just love the bike, and that's what I love to do.
Brian, how did your dad inspire you, and are you glad he did? What did competing in the Senior Games mean to you?
Absolutely. So, being, well, it was last year, I was 57 years old, and I've been watching him compete and train. So what happens is I realized that it's not something you just do 2 months before an event like this. He's every day. I mean, he finds a way to get in the garage here or jump in his workout room, or he jumps on the trail and jumps on his bike. So to prepare for something like that, just move, do something every day. And that's what he's taught all of us kids. And he's basically teaching us that his whole life. I can remember when I was 8, 10, 15 years old, and there he was in his 40s working out, and he didn't miss. He'd find time to work out.
And folks, Jack's inspiration spread far and near. I mean, it was picked up by the worldwide media, but it also was picked up by people who live near him, like Pat, who is actually his neighbor. Pat had never competed in sports before, as I understand it, and yet, Pat, you rode the 20-kilometer race, which is almost 12 and a half miles. Tell us how Jack inspired you and what the experience was like for you.
I met him through our grandsons, and they found out that I rode a bicycle. They just started telling me that I could do it. And I said, I can't, and I don't want to. And then his daughter called me one day and said, I'm down at my dad's, bring your bike down, and I'm going to time you so that you can go into the Olympics. And I said, oh, and she said, do it. And I said, okay. So I did, and she timed me, and they got me involved in going to the Olympics. I never even thought about that before.
And what was the experience like for you, Pat? Did you enjoy it? Were people nice to you? Were you inspired by others?
Yes, it was very nice, and it was very exciting, and I was thrilled that I could be able to do it.
Folks, the Senior Games is not just about winning. As much fun as it was for Jack and Brian and Pat, it's really just about participating. It's about being inspired and inspiring others, just like Jack and Brian and Pat are doing. Thank you all for your time and your inspiration, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Des Moines. All right, let's check in now with the latest from the chat, which is heating up. And as a reminder, make sure to have your comments sent to go to everyone, because we all want to see it, not just the host. Hey, Del Moon is here. He says he loved having the honor of handing Jack Eckenrode the torch to light the cauldron in Pittsburgh. That is one icon to another, folks. Amazing man and family. Ann Warner Cribbs from Palo Alto, California, gives a shout out to the California Senior Games, and she says, competition never gets old. That's a t-shirt, Ann. I love that. Willie Sproul is watching and says, hello, everyone. Willie, folks, is a world-class sprinter, also a world-class guy. Great to have him along. And now the winners. We understand that we got another giveaway. This one will have 2 winners. It comes from the NSGA's official merchandise partner, Fine Designs, giving away some official 2025 National Senior Games merchandise. How about this? Either a quarter zip jacket, a crew sweatshirt, or a hoodie showcasing the Des Moines Games logo. And they are going to Barbara Sweeney and Raymond Cage, and we will DM both of you in the comments to get your information. If you didn't win, folks, you can still get your games gear at nsga.com/merch. And be sure to keep watching and commenting along, because later in the show, we will be giving away a free registration, totally waiving the entry fee to the 2025 National Senior Games presented by Humana for one lucky recipient. All right, let's bring in the big shot. President and CEO of the National Senior Games, Sue Lavacek. The National Senior Games movement is catching fire. And for the newcomers who have joined us tonight and are just now learning more about the Senior Games, how can they get involved and started on their Senior Games journey?
Well, first and foremost, they need to get involved at the state level in order to qualify for the national games. So they would need to contact the coordinators of their local state and give them a call and see when their games are. They can go on our website, www.nsga.com, and click on the state tab, and it'll give them all the information to reach out to their state coordinator for all the details of their games.
It's easy to do. Like everything else, folks, it just takes taking that very first step. And Sue, you know, all of us in the National Senior Games become ambassadors for the movement because it really is one of the the greatest gifts that we can share with our family and friends. Talk to the athletes who are with us tonight, those already involved. Give them a pat on the back. What impact are they making in the lives of those that they share their passion with for participating?
These passionate athletes are such ambassadors for our event. They bring their friends, they encourage their friends to come to the games, family members, even they bring some of their sons and daughters, their grandkids come and watch. So they're really ambassadors across the country, nationwide, of promoting our games. And with their participation at the state level, even increases that even more.
And Sue, when you reflect on Pittsburgh back in 2023, I know it's got to be difficult, but is there one story that sticks out in your mind even till to this day?
Well, there's one event that really stood out for me, and it goes beyond the athletic fields and courts, was the celebration of athletes at PNC Park, seeing 5,000 athletes parade into PNC Park with their state athlete friends, with carrying their flag, feeling so proud, and it was just a really cool moment. And all those spectators that were at PNC Park for the baseball game witnessed our event, our parade, and the athletes were just ecstatic to be there.
It's an event unlike any other. Lots of memorable moments beyond the actual competition. And as we wrap up, Sue, look forward to Des Moines this summer. Tell us, is it possible to still compete in some events even if we haven't yet qualified?
Yes, we have open sport events. So if you did not qualify at the state level in 2024, there's an opportunity to participate in additional sports that are not qualifiers. So it gives an athlete a chance to get a flavor and a taste of our National Senior Games in Des Moines.
All right, great stuff, Sue. Thank you so much for your time and especially your leadership. And folks, you heard it there. Check out those open sports on their website, nsga.com, because it is not too late to get involved, even if you haven't qualified at the state level, or if you have qualified and you want to try something new, here is your opportunity. All right, let's share some fun facts about the games now. You know, athletes in the games have ranged from age 50 to over 105. Shout out again to the late Julia Hawkins, who set a world record as the oldest person to ever compete in a sanctioned track and field event. And it's not just local athletes in the host city that compete. Athletes come from all 50 states and more than 7 countries to the games. So yeah, the National Senior Games are actually international. A survey found that the average fitness age of many National Senior Games athletes is actually 25 years younger than their chronological age. They are turning back the clock. Many National Senior Games athletes had never competed in a formal sporting event at all until they were 50, 60, 70, or 80. So folks, don't be afraid to dive into the games for the very first time yourself. Without exception, every Senior Games, there is a story that becomes the talk of the town, and it will be tough to top this one in Des Moines. As we say repeatedly, you don't have to be a world-class athlete to compete in the Senior Games. It is an event for everyone of all skill levels, but of course, there are world-class athletes who compete, and it's fun to compete against them because they not only inspire by example, they actually help and encourage others. They're competitors because that's really the spirit of the Senior Games. One of those world-class athletes is an Iowa native who was a 3-time state champion in track back in high school. But of course, as it does, life intervenes and she didn't run for 3 decades. And when she turned 50, seemingly out of nowhere, She has exploded onto the track scene, setting world and American age group records at 400 meters, winning national championships in the 100, 200, 400, and 800. And she was named the 2024 Masters Female Sprint Athlete of the Year by USA Track and Field. Christy Matthews joins us now from her home. Christy, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. The way you put it, it inspires me.
Well, you've inspired so many, but let's help people understand the context. Take us back to your 40s. What motivated you to get active in your 40s?
Oh yes, so I had a child late in life. They called it geriatric pregnancy. So I had my first child when I was about to turn 43, and I sat back and I thought, I need to make sure that I'm healthy. I need to make sure that I'm active, that I'm there for her as long as I can be. So at about 46, I actually started playing soccer. Well, what I lacked in skill, I made up for it in speed. And I was constantly reminded of that from my teammates. And they kept saying, Christy, maybe you should go back to running. And because you really still have something there. And I said, I'll think about it. And honestly, in soccer, a big thing is turning 50 for women who play soccer, because there are a lot of tournaments that open up for 50 and up. And so that is how I found out about senior games when I turned 50, because I was playing on some of the tournament teams. Then I found out they actually have track and field, and I said, oh my gosh, well, this just makes it even better. I think I will go out for track and field too, and kind of the rest is history.
Yeah, the Senior Games is a movement of inspiration and encouragement, support one for another. Talk, if you will, a little bit, Christy, to those who are with us tonight, who are not world-class athletes like yourself. How do you think getting involved in master sports for them for the first time, or maybe for the first time in a long time, can actually impact their life for the better?
Well, I have a motto, and I always say, do what you can when you can, because there will come a day when you simply cannot. And I really hope that those that are thinking about getting active, getting into things, take that to heart, because today is today. What are you going to do with it? I would say don't be afraid. There's a lot of support out there, and that just take one step at a time and do what you love. That's what should drive you.
It's been over 30 years since you were back in Des Moines, but your daughter, what does she think about this? What does she think about Mom? Does she understand what you do?
Yes, she does. And I think for her, it is not necessarily the titles or the wins. It's the effort that she sees that I put in every day. I remember a time when I was talking to her, and she said she was having a difficult time. And I said, well, honey, it's okay. There'll be difficult things. There's challenges in life. You have to get through it. And she said, yes, Mom, I know, because I see you doing what you do with running. And I see that you try hard all the time. So I know that that's what you should do. Never give up. Keep trying. Keep moving forward. And that's what made it worth it. That's all I needed to hear.
Christy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Congratulations on the records, and we'll see you in Des Moines.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Christy has been a record-breaking machine, certainly one to keep an eye on in Des Moines. But as we've said many times, folks, the games are about so much more than just records and medals. They're about fun and fitness. They are about hope and inspiration. They're about the life-changing benefits of physical and social activity, which the game's presenting sponsor, Humana, recognizes at every event. At the 2013 National Senior Games in Cleveland, Humana launched the Humana Game Changers program to honor athletes who exemplify healthy aging and resilience and provide encouragement and inspiration for people of all ages. And since then, over 100 athletes have been honored as Humana Game Changers. So check out this short video to see how Humana Game Changers inspire all Americans to live healthier, more active lives through their commitment to regular physical activity, and how many have used their sport to overcome life's challenges as they age.
I watch all the athletes that come to senior games. I know every one of them has overcome big challenges in order to be here. You can't be a senior adult and not face challenges.
Both of my knees had degenerative arthritis, and I had my first knee replaced about 14 years ago and my second knee replaced 12 years ago. And I didn't think that I would ever be able to play racquetball again.
Tennis has really been good for me because it helped me mentally as well as physically, and it kept me young. And I encourage the seniors to stay active, to stay young, and feel good about themselves.
When you get older, you need to be passionate about something, or else you'll just sit in your chair. And that's the worst thing you can do. Inactivity is a killer for old people, and exercise is medicine for old people.
I know we've got some Humana game changers in the audience tonight. I know Willie Sproul is a Humana game changer. He was here. I see Diet Sauer, who is also a Humana game changer. If you are a Humana game changer, reveal yourself, folks. Shout it out in the chat because we want to know you're here. And by the way, if you would like to be considered for the 2025 class of Humana Game Changers, and who wouldn't want that honor, just complete the survey found on the National Senior Games Association social channels. In fact, we'll drop a link to that survey in the comments now, but the survey closes tomorrow, so you're going to have to move pretty quickly. All right, speaking of the comments, let's check back into the chat and share a few more that have been coming in. Let's see here. Linda Fenderson Doss is a first-time national participant in the cornhole. She says she used to participate in running events until arthritis slowed her down. Now she's looking forward to a great experience in the cornhole. Folks, that's what this is all about. You got to adapt. You got to accommodate. If you can't run anymore, why not try cornhole? Rebecca Murdoch from Tulsa, Oklahoma says she's looking forward to her first nationals in swimming, bowling, and track and field, kind of her own triathlon. I love that. Andrea Hulka says the camaraderie is the very best thing about the National Senior Games, and nobody is going to argue with that. All right, the very next winner, we got another Boulder box, folks, full of Growing Boulder swag, including the Book of Boulder with all the keys to healthy, happy, and active aging, a Growing Boulder t-shirt with attitude, a motivational postcard book, and more. And we are giving this one away to Laurel Miller, watching on Facebook, who says she's eager to learn more about the Senior Games competition. All right, and while we've been giving away Boulder boxes during this show, we want to let you know that all of our merchandise is now available in our brand new Growing Boulder shop, where it is all about age. No, it's not about age, it's all about attitude. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all now ready to go. Check it out at shop.growingboulder.com. In fact, for the next 48 hours, sign up for our newsletter and get 15% off of your first order. And speaking of which, here's something for everybody. The free National Senior Games Fountain of Youth e-newsletter and podcast. Inside each monthly newsletter, you will find the very latest inspiring video stories on senior athletes, articles and podcasts that cover the very latest in longevity research, inspirational memes, and more. You can sign up at nsga.com/connect. And be sure to listen to our Fountain of Youth podcast, because it features full interviews with National Senior Games athletes sharing their secrets to success and also to bouncing back from the setbacks that we all encounter as we age. You can subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and more. Now, one guest on the Fountain of Youth podcast that you can listen to right now is this guy, our good friend Rowdy Gaines, the three-time Olympic gold medalist swimmer, 9-time voice of NBC's Olympic swimming coverage, and a Growing Boulder correspondent who has helped us cover the Senior Games. I recently caught up with Rowdy to get his take on why participating in the National Senior Games is such an incredible opportunity.
My doctor made a great statement, which I haven't heard yet. Sitting is the new smoking. He said in many cases it's worse than smoking. You've got to get up and get moving. That's why the Senior Games, it's not rocket science. It's a beautiful thing, because you have these people moving and inspiring others. And when I was there with you, it was unbelievable, because it's not Olympics, you know. You don't have to have been an Olympian to be able to be a part of the senior games. It's really about coming together with a common cause, and that common cause is keep that movement going as you begin to age into a group that sometimes people think you need to slow down. My dad's 90. Dude, I'm trying to talk him into getting into the senior games because I think he'd be great. He swims every day, you know, and so he inspires me. I'm begging those people that as we age into my age group, please keep moving. And the senior games is that perfect place to be able to do it.
Always great to hear from a legendary competitor like Rowdy that he is actually inspired by you, these senior athletes who keep on keeping on. You know, there are so many opportunities to get involved in the more than 20 sports and competitions that the National Senior Games offers. A reminder for those of you who may have joined late, there are still open sports that you can register to compete in this summer in Des Moines without needing to qualify. Just go to nsga.com to learn more. And while you're there, click out the State Games Information tab so you can learn about how you can get involved in the local level as well. Well, I hope you're getting the idea that the senior games are good for all of us in so many ways, but don't take our word for it. Dr. Pamela Peeke is a physician and scientist. She's a global thought leader in fitness, nutrition, and metabolism, and a best-selling author. She's also, by the way, a competitive athlete who has studied competitive athletes, which really does make her unique. Dr. Peeke, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Hey there. It's so good to see you again. Can't wait to talk about some of my favorite topics.
Yeah, you're always inspiring. And you've been saying it for decades, Dr. Peeke, but there now seems to be finally universal agreement in the healthcare field that exercise is, in fact, the #1 form of preventative medicine. Give us the elevator pitch about what exercise does for us, especially as we age.
Okay, look. It's not even exercise. It's physical activity. Just get up and move, for crying out loud. A lot of times the E word, turns people off. It's like, oh my God, I got to join the Olympics. Well, no, just get up and move. You want to grow a bigger brain? You actually grow new neural networks up there. Who doesn't want a bigger brain as you get older? And then the other piece of it is heart disease, diabetes, cancer. All of these risks decrease precipitously if you get up, assume the vertical, and start moving. Just get out there and do that. I was part of a study that I helped pull together with the American College of Sports Medicine. 10 years ago, what we did was we looked at fitness age. We found that the average age of the people in the National Senior Games was 68 years of age. But their fitness age was actually 25 years younger. So if you want to chop off a quarter of a century, hello, fountain of youth, then all you have to do is get up and rock and roll.
Dr. Peeke, if exercise, if physical activity is the #1 form of preventative medicine, social connection with those who actually inspire and support and encourage us has to be close behind. What's the latest on the benefits of the importance of the kind of connection that we find in the senior games?
Well, you're going to be surprised to learn that it's not close behind. It's either equal to or greater, for crying out loud. When you have social connection, what you're doing is you're actually helping to uplift your mental, cognitive performance in a huge way. You give your life meaning and purpose when you connect with other people. And the thing that I absolutely love, studies now show that of all the things you could do in your life, connecting with others on a deep and meaningful level, especially having fun, uplifting other people, being of service, all of these things are integral to optimal longevity.
Amen to that. Dr. Pamela Peeke, thank you for your groundbreaking work, continuing to prove, really not just to all of us, but to the healthcare system in general, that prevention is the key. And we all really do have more control over how we age than we realize. Thanks, Pam. Well, the countdown to Des Moines is definitely on with just over 4 months to go. We are excited to hit the ground, to get to the venues, and to start telling your stories to inspire the world. So, will you be competing in Des Moines? Do you have an inspirational journey of your own that you think Growing Boulder should cover? Let us know in the comments now about your sport, about your story, and we will look for you this summer. Des Moines is definitely rolling out the red carpet for the National Senior Games July 24th through August 4th. So let's take you to Des Moines right now and catch up with a local Des Moines athlete who also happens to be the Deputy City Manager for the City of Des Moines, Matt Anderson. Matt, not only are you preparing for the games as Deputy City Manager, you're preparing for the games as a first-time competitor. What made you decide to go out and qualify, and what's your sport?
Yeah, so I'm a runner. So I've been a runner since I was a kid. And when I saw Greg Edwards, who is the head of Catch Des Moines, our Convention and Visitors Bureau, out in Pittsburgh, kind of taking the torch and bringing the games to Des Moines in 2 years, when I saw him there, I said, I got to go qualify. So I went from doing a lot of long distance training to bought my first pair of track spikes since I was 18, and I hit the track last year and went to the Iowa Senior Games and qualified in the 800 and 1500.
How has working out and competing at the state level impacted your life so far? How do you feel?
I feel great. It was fun to do something different, right? So I run a lot of half marathons and marathons, and they can be kind of grueling, and it's the same old training regime. And to get back on the track and start going fast again kind of brings you to it's like you'd found a new sport, right? But what I was amazed at, this was my first senior games that I went to last year in Iowa, and the camaraderie is great. Everyone's supportive. I mean, everyone wants to win, of course, but everyone was friends. And I met people that day that I had never met before in my life who were suddenly supportive of me. And you start talking, you're going to find common interest in amongst the people in your sport. So it's a great way to meet new people.
Amen. All right, let's switch hats for a second. As the Des Moines Deputy City Manager, give us the elevator pitch. Why is Des Moines not just a good fit, but a great fit for the National Senior Games?
Yeah, so Des Moines is, we've had a motto that's do more, which you can do more in Des Moines. It's easy to get around. I talk to so many people that after they've left Des Moines, they're like, wow, I had no idea this is what this city was like. We have one of the best bike trail networks, paved bike trail networks in the entire country. From downtown Des Moines as the hub, you can hop on a bike trail and go 40, 50 miles in any direction. And so I hope people get out and explore. If you're here on the weekend, which I presume most people will be, we have one of the best downtown farmers markets in the entire country. It's just a massive, massive cultural phenomenon with just incredible food vendors, incredible entertainment. I wouldn't miss it because I can guarantee you, wherever someone else is from, they haven't seen a farmer's market like this.
Well, good luck in your preparation, and remember as you train, especially as a Masters athlete, it is better to underdo than overdo. We'll see you soon.
Right.
That is first-time Senior Games athlete and Des Moines Deputy City Manager, Matt Anderson. Man, I hope you guys are enjoying this because we certainly are. Let's check back in with the chat because there's a lot going on. Andrea Holka says, thank you for adding powerlifting. Andrea says there are 4 of us, quote, strong ladies coming from Omaha, so look out. Santana Tishla says that he hopes to sign up for bowling and running. Christine Stock has 5 new bowlers competing this year with her. Great job, Christine. Sue Heiss has competed in multiple national senior games, has won many medals, but she says the best part isn't the medals, it's the friendships that she's made. Julia Dunkel is qualified in swimming. She's new to swimming and the national senior games. Way to jump in, Julie. Kim says she's looking forward to swimming in her 3rd national senior games in Des Moines, and she says that she will see me at the pool. You better come up and say hello because I'm looking forward to seeing you there, Kim. And how about Yvette Matthews, who loves seeing friends over the many years? Yvette actually received a liver transplant in 2013 and feels blessed to be alive and able to compete in the National Senior Games. And folks, it can't be said enough times. It's about being able to bounce back. It's about being able to recover from the setbacks of life, and the National Senior Games community can help you do that. All right, time now for another giveaway. This one is a gift bag from Des Moines, full of Des Moines goodies from Catch Des Moines. Moines. This one is going to Jean Nerbauer, watching on the NSGA Facebook feed. Jean, we will DM you now to get your information. And folks, be sure to stick around as we wrap up the show in just a couple of minutes, because we've got another prize coming up, a free registration into the 2025 games in Des Moines. You know, to me, the greatest thing about the National Senior Games is that it's a movement of inspiration, and it's the kind of inspiration that actually changes lives. Case in point, Sherry Kemp and her mother, Susie, attended the 2019 National Senior Games to root for Sherry's twin sister, Charlene, who was competing in the javelin and shot put. And while they were at the track, they saw 103-year-old Julia Hawkins win the 100-meter dash, setting a new world age group record. And they were so inspired that they decided in that very moment to get involved themselves in an effort to improve their health and to actually get off of their walker. So let's find out more. Joining us now to share how it's going, National Senior Games athletes Sherry Kemp, Susie Kemp, and Charlene Kemp-Queener. Ladies, thanks so much for joining us. And Sherry, let's start with you if we can. 68 years old. I know it's okay to share your age because, you know, we're all athletes and we do that. You've got a chronic disease that affects your lungs. You were on a walker. You were on oxygen in Albuquerque. How did watching Julia Hawkins change you? What happened?
Basically, my mother and I, we were sitting at the track watching the races, rooting my sister on. We were by the pole vault and the shot put, that area. And we heard Julia Hawkins had set a world record and how old she was. So we went over there. We're both of us on our walkers. I'm on oxygen. And my mom ends up talking to her. I talked to her, asked her, her story. And what she shared with us was she was 67, she said, and her husband had died. And in order to get to his grave, she had to jump a ditch. And then she had to jump the ditch back. So she started out doing the long jump, she said. and I'm looking at her like, she started when she was older than I was at that time. And now she's setting world records. And my mom and I, we went back and we're sitting back by the track. And I said, you know what, Mom, we can do something. We got to find out where we can fit in. And that's where our journey started.
Susie, let me ask you, you're about to turn 90 years old. Did you ever think that in your late 80s and 90s you would be an athlete?
No, I was an athlete early on in my early days, but with all my problems, I didn't think I'd ever be able to do anything again.
And how has it changed you? What's been the impact of getting involved?
Well, according to my doctors, whatever I'm doing to keep on doing it, doctors think that my health has improved greatly and I just have a problem with balance. But other than that, I'm doing just fine. No problems, no physical, medical problems whatsoever. After cancer, attack with cancer, pancreatic, and all that kind of stuff, I'm doing okay.
Charlene, give us a takeaway here. What do you say to folks that are joining us, for this event, that are thinking, is it something for me? Do I have to be a great athlete? Do I have to have friends? I mean, what do you say to people who don't know whether they should get involved?
What I say is the National Senior Games is absolutely a gift for our future as it relates to our health and wellness. Everybody can do something. You don't have to be a top tier athlete. A part of the Senior Games is participation and competition in a non-threatening way. And so you can move your body, whatever that looks like, so that you can live a long and healthy life and enjoy the spirit of just being a part of the Senior Games.
Thank you so much for your time and all that you're doing. Folks, I hope you get the message that the Kemps, the National Senior Games in general, are for anybody. They're for everybody over the age of 50. Like Charlene just said, you don't have to be a swimmer or a runner or a basketball player. There are nearly 30 sports, something for everybody. And while the competition is for those 50 and older, the inspiration, as we learn every day, is for everybody. Your kids, your grandkids, they all are inspired by what they see. Come on, join the community, folks. All right, it is time to put a bow on this celebration of senior athletes. We want to remind you once again that you can get involved at any level. We also want to challenge you to invite a friend, a family member, or a neighbor to participate in the state senior games this year, because you have the power to become an ambassador to help the senior games movement grow and touch even more lives. All right, as promised, we've got one final giveaway, a free registration into the 2025 games, courtesy of the National Senior Games Association. And this one goes to Jay Embry. Congratulations, Jay. We will DM you now to get your information. Before we go, Peggy Pooster's grandparents are from Van Wert, so she's looking forward to visiting home and her roots. She's looking forward to her 4th participation in the games. Carlton Dunn can't wait to get to the Des Moines Farmers Market. And Jane Kaiser says she will see us at all swimming and track events, and that she uses the games as preventative medicine. Couldn't have said it better myself, Jane. Folks, I'm a proud National Senior Games athlete myself, as Kim pointed out a minute ago. And as you can see from 2 of the swimming competitions at the games in Pittsburgh, I know firsthand what makes the National Senior Games so special. It's the diversity and the unity. It's former Olympians and weekend warriors. It's those who are bouncing back from injury or disease, and those who are holding back the hands of time. It's resilience and persistence personified. It's a grassroots movement that is smashing stereotypes, adding years to our lives and life to our years. It is a community of support and encouragement, and I hope you get the idea by now that you are invited. So get in the games and bring a friend. Head to nsga.com to find out all about the games, and to growingboulder.com to find more inspirational stories on ordinary people who are living extraordinary lives simply because they choose to. We hope to see you in Des Moines. Good night.